Glad he is gone? Barack Obama, the U.S. must give up freedoms to the UN. Obama might be out of the White House, but his drive to push this country towards socialism has not stopped. What people like Obama and Hillary want is a one-world government. They are dangerous. The ramifications of ceding our sovereignty to a world body would have catastrophic consequences. They sincerely want the United States to bind ourselves to international rules over the long term. Now that he is out of office, Obama is not afraid to say what he would not before. And it is scary. If you don't believe me, just listen to what the president told world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly. Former President Barack Obama in Montreal this week warned the world against income inequality and the concentration of wealth, all while pulling down $7,700 per minute at his $400,000 speech. Obama's first post-presidency address on Canadian soil was loaded with anti-Trump, anti-capitalism and anti-American rhetoric. Big surprise there. Obama said that the concentration of wealth fans fears that governments exist solely to benefit the powerful, NBC reported, and noted that Obama is now striving to be an international community organizer. He said the U.S. and other nations showed there was a better way in creating an international order that was based not just on self-interest but also on principles.But, urging the U.S. and other nations to give up their sovereignty to a global order is nothing new for this guy. A one-world government. That's what Obama, Clinton and other globalists want. If you don't believe me, just listen to what the president told world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly in November. But we have to put our money where our mouths are. And we can only realize the promise of this institution's founding, to replace the ravages of war with cooperation, if powerful nations like my own accept constraints, said Obama. Sometimes I'm criticized in my own country for professing a belief in international norms and multilateral institutions. I know that some countries, which now recognize the power of free markets, still reject the model of free societies. And perhaps those of us who have been promoting democracy feel somewhat discouraged since the end of the Cold War, because we've learned that liberal democracy will not just wash across the globe in a single wave. It turns out building accountable institutions is hard work, the work of generations. The gains are often fragile. Sometimes we take one step forward and then two steps back. In countries held together by borders drawn by colonial powers, with ethnic enclaves and tribal divisions, politics and elections can sometimes appear to be a zero-sum game. And so, given the difficulty in forging true democracy in the face of these pressures, it's no surprise that some argue the future favors the strong man, a top-down model, rather than strong, democratic institutions. But I am convinced that in the long run, giving up some freedom of action, not giving up our ability to protect ourselves or pursue our core interests, but binding ourselves to international rules over the long term, enhances our security. And I think that's not just true for us. So, basically, our traitor-in-chief wants you to shut up and let him trade our sovereignty. Oh, yeah, and he also wants you to pay for it. Are you willing to give up some of your freedom so that the UN can have more control? I sure as hell am not. Tell us what you think of Obama's statement in the comments section.